The real deal about Michael Jackson, that is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. There's an old saying, you can't choose your family, and it's true. The family of Michael Jackson honored his memory today in Los Angeles, and I do not wish to intrude on that. They are entitled to grieve any way they want. But Michael Jackson's place in America is a legitimate topic of discussion, and Talking Points is just about fed up with all the adulation. It is basically grandstanding and pathetic in the extreme. Yes, the man was an all-star entertainer, but that's it. So enough with the phony platitudes, okay? The truth is that Jackson's interaction with children were unacceptable for any adult. His incredible selfishness, spending hundreds of millions of dollars on himself while singing We Are the World, should make any clear-thinking American nauseous. And why are Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton making this a racial deal? Jackson bleached his own skin and then chose white men to provide existence for his in vitro children. I mean, give me a break with all this. To hear Sharpton speak today, you think Mr. Jackson was Martin Luther King Jr.
Those young kids grew up from being teenage, comfortable fans of Michael to being 40 years old and being comfortable to vote for a person of color to be the president of the United States of America. Michael did that. Michael made us love each other. Michael taught us to stand with each other.
And if you disagree with honoring Jackson the man, watch out. Congressman Peter King called Jackson a pedophile, an assessment not uncommon, and was immediately branded a racist. NAACP official Hazel Dukes and Congressman Bobby Rush both said vile things about Mr. King. The message is very clear. If you criticize Michael Jackson, you hate black people. Nonsense, un-American and unacceptable. If you like Jackson, fine, no problem. That's your right. If you do not respect him, that is fine as well. Dukes and Rush are playing the race card, pure and simple. They should be ashamed. The crowd outside the service today was much smaller than predicted. The service itself was very well done, but the media coverage was a bit bizarre. I mean, there's something surreal about watching Katie Couric analyze things with Kenny Babyface Edmonds. And Charles Gibson didn't exactly look relaxed doing play-by-play. The whole deal illustrates just how crazy the USA is becoming. A cowardly media will exploit any event for ratings. Remember, the same people extolling Jackson today were the ones giving his child molestation trial gavel-to-gavel attention. And after Michael Jackson was found not guilty, the American media did not exactly elevate him to hero status, did it? But now that he's dead, most likely from an accidental drug overdose, he is a hero. How does that work? How does that happen? Just another day in media world. That's the top story tonight. Reaction to that analysis with us, Fox News analyst Mark Lamont Hill. Dr. Mark Lamont Hill. The racial thing bothers me a little bit. Go ahead. You heard what I said. Go ahead.
Yeah, I must admit, I mean, you have me baffled in your analysis here. To say that this isn't a racial issue when this man's entire career has been marked by the tropes of race, from an entertainer to the legal realm. In all areas of his career, he's been marked by race. Yes, the black community has embraced him. Yes, the black community has wrapped its arms around him more in depth, but that's because the media has assaulted him in ways that they don't do white people of that stature.
All right. I disagree 100%. I want the audience to know. The Jackson 5 came on the scene. They were immediately a crossover band. That means white Americans bought their records just as much as black Americans. No racial component. They were a great entertaining group. Motown put them out. White people bought their records just as white people bought Stevie Wonder's records, Smokey Robinson's records. So there's no racial component there. The man grows up, all right? He has mega hit after mega hit after mega hit. Every white person I know is dancing their buns off to Off the Wall and Thriller. I don't see any racial deal there. I don't see him being criticized there. It's only when he gets into the bizarre realm of bleaching his skin, plastic surgery, and sleeping with children, strange children, children he doesn't know.
Going to sleep with children.
Sleeping with them in the same bed.
But clearly someone may think when you say sleeping with children that there was a sexual component to that.
I'm saying the words as clear as I can, Doctor.
Yes.
Sleeping with children.
Right.
An adult sleeping with children, not his kids. Unacceptable for any adult to do that. That's not acceptable behavior. Only after that do people come after him? I don't see. If he were a white guy, people would say, hey, that's not acceptable.
But here's the point, Bill. No one is saying that the media should not have drawn attention to Michael Jackson.
So what's the racial component?
The component is now he has passed away.
Yeah.
About a year or two ago, when Jerry Falwell died, you and I debated this very point. You said, give the man 3 days to a week and let the people mourn him before you start talking about his racist politics. You said that yourself. So why are we giving Jerry Falwell something that we won't even give Michael Jackson?
Look. I'm not saying anything about Michael Jackson. In fact, if you remember, I was the guy that said he was acquitted in a court of law, and it's got to stand. I reiterated that last night, and I've never made any comment about his criminality ever.
Right.
Okay? Because I'm going with the system. Now, a guy like Peter King comes out, and he says, and I know Peter King, he's not a racist. He's not. He says the guy is a pedophile. So, in his opinion, and it's shared by a lot of people, King would have said that if the guy were any color with his rap sheet, any color.
But it wouldn't have happened. It wouldn't have happened that way. And that's
Wait a minute, you're saying King wouldn't have criticized
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Bull.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
You don't know the man, he would have.
But don't escape the Jerry Falwell point here. You said you critiqued me for calling him a racist after his funeral. You said that's inappropriate behavior, that it's insensitive, and that it's disrespectful to his legacy to do so. Not because you didn't agree with me, but because you said that's not what you do to a celebrity after they die.
It's apples and oranges.
Please tell me how.
Look, it is. Al Sharpton gets up there and makes him Martin Luther King Jr. Come on.
He didn't do that. He
ridiculous.
spoke to a truth. First of all, Michael, in addition to being perhaps the greatest child prodigy since Mozart, right? And I'm not being hyperbolic to say that. Michael Jackson also opened doors for people on MTV, on the video realm at large.
No argument.
That's what he talked about. He opened the door. He was the Jackie Robinson of music.
Michael taught us to love one another.
He absolutely did. He brought blacks and whites together. How could the reason
he brought blacks and whites together?
Oh, absolutely.
Everybody liked his music. That look,
brings blacks and whites together.
You just made my argument for me. You just made my point. There's no racial component in here.
Just because it's not racist doesn't mean that it's not racial.
There isn't any.
No, there is a racial component. The fact that he brings blacks and whites together is a racial component. The fact that a black man would disfigure his face in such a way to resemble white folk makes it a racial component.
Okay, then why is he being held up by the African American community as a pillar of black America when he blanches his skin?
Because we are a loyal people, we are a protective people, and we understand that the architecture of white supremacy
I don't even mind that.
That's how white supremacy works. A whole lot of black people want to look white.
Look, Jackson's American. He wants to bleach his skin. Fine. I don't care.
Right.
All right. But answer me this. If he is such a black American icon, why did he have his kids with white men?
That's a personal matter. That doesn't make him less black. There's no blackness meter here. You don't become less black when you have a white kid.
You don't become an African-American icon when you do something like that.
No, you become an African-American icon for producing the greatest music and being the greatest entertainer ever, for being an extraordinary humanitarian, and for that's exactly why he's a great American. You just become an
American icon for that, not a black man.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
You're an American icon.
It's not either or. He is an American icon. He is quintessentially American, but he's also undeniably black. You can't take black from him just because he has white kids.
Always a pleasure. Celebrating the destruction of others. That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. Another major political figure, Governor Mark Sanford of South Carolina, blows up. Sanford has admitted to an affair and is likely done in the political world. As soon as I heard the news, I knew some on the left would celebrate because the governor is a conservative Republican. Now, we all know that some on the right exploited the Monica Lewinsky situation. So reveling in the pain of others is not limited to one ideology. But the far left has been especially vicious lately. And so Governor Sanford's young sons and his wife will bear the brunt of that. Also, you may remember the right has been fairly restrained about the John Edwards situation. Here at Fox News, we reported the Edwards affair, but did not dwell on it or celebrate it. That's important to remember. Edwards has 2 young kids and his wife is ill, so to gratuitously demean him would be wrong, even though Edwards frequently attacked FNC and me in particular. But last night, some liberal pundits could not wait to gleefully exploit the Sanford story. Shamefully, the Washington Post led the way. Here's Post editorial writer Jonathan Capehart.
You know, a colleague of mine, Chuck Lane, made a little a joke just before I came on air. He said, at the rate the Republicans are going, the only marriages that'll be worth anything are the gay folks getting married in Vermont.
Washington Post columnist Eugene Robinson, one of the biggest media haters in the country, actually said, quote, I'm grateful to the governor for doing this, unquote. Something very, very wrong at the Washington Post. Then there's Paul Begala, a guy who ran around screaming it was only about sex while defending President Clinton.
I am sick of getting lectures from Republicans that I'm not a good husband, I'm not a good Christian, I'm not a good patriot. Got to cut that crap and do their real job and stop lecturing the rest of us about gay rights and sex.
Now, I could spend all night citing the nasty attacks by far-left loons, but one particularly annoyed me. Nancy Pelosi's daughter, Christine, a liberal activist, said, quote, "So Governor Sanford is another family values hypocrite. How many times did he deny privacy rights and marriage equality to others? How many more Sanfords until the GOP decides to drop the hopelessly hypocritical opposition to privacy rights and marriage equality?" Unquote. Privacy rights, of course, is code for unrestricted abortion. So it's obvious what Ms. Pelosi is doing. If you support any protections for the unborn or traditional marriage, you had better be a saint or they're going to come after you. Absolutely vicious, absolutely un-American.